Hello, and welcome back to Ventura County Works, the podcast that connects people, programs, and possibilities across our regional workforce system. Of course, with us is Rebecca Evans, the Executive Director of the Workforce Development Board of Ventura County. Today, we have a special guest, and we're launching a new recurring segment called Board Member Minutes. And in each episode, we sit down with one of our volunteer board members to learn about why they serve, what they see in the local labor market, and how their insight shapes our strategies. First guest today is Ken Wiseman. He is a business owner in Piru, California, and a board member. Ken, welcome. Rebecca, always great to be with you.
Great. Thank you, Doug. And thank you, Ken. We put out the call to our board members of the Workforce Development Board of Ventura County, to join us on the podcast. We've had some board members be guests on the podcast in the past, but we've started this segment called Board Member Minutes so that they could talk about their background, what brought them to the Workforce Board, and what they are seeing in their business and industry here locally and at the current time. We got a great response. We've had several board members raise their hand and volunteer to be on. And Ken, thank you so much for being a part of this. I know you were saying that you're no stranger to podcasts or interviews. You've been interviewed many times. So we look forward to just diving right into you. I know also that you bring to the Workforce Development Board many years of private sector experience. You've been a business owner and operator. I know we'll talk about this, but you've mentioned you very much were a champion and are a champion of workplace learning and on-the-job training and making sure that the learning is continuous. And I think many of us embrace that that notion of lifelong learning, but also complete career path learning. So we appreciate your dedication to that. And you had some familiarity with another workforce board prior to coming to us, but you had large scale private sector operation, and now you've moved into a different sector of a business ownership here in Ventura County in Piru. So very much looking forward to hearing from you and your perspective from both of those big experiences. So welcome. And let's start with maybe hearing a little bit about your story, your professional journey.
Thank you, Rebecca and Doug. I'm excited to be here to talk with all of you and honored to kick off this segment. So way back while I was getting my degree in education and psychology, I started working in the food service industry with Aramark, and I spent 15 years with them following my graduation from college and was a director. Got my MBA and went on into the logistics industry. Now, what's interesting is both the food industry and logistics industry rely heavily on entry level, often initially untrained individuals. And from the beginning, my passion in teaching got to be used in working with all the folks that we were hiring. 2019, we sold a company that I was CEO of for 22 years, AMS Fulfillment in Santa Clarita. And I stepped down when we sold it as a PE to a PE firm and became the workforce development officer. So now I was fully entrenched in what I love to do, overseeing as they continued to grow the company. I oversaw the recruitment, engagement, working with the employees. I got to teach. We had an education center. So that was sort of the best way to finish my career and sort of the big sort of corporate world. And then in 2022, it was just, my wife and I and retiring. She actually stayed on for president a few years. But then here in Piru, we took a building that had been closed in the middle of town for 12 years. We made it a coffee shop by day and a cafe at night. We took a 1800s hotel and refurbished it, and now it's Mountain View Inn and Restaurant. And we even have a little winery, Heritage Valley Wines. So I was really nervous that I was going to be bored in retirement, but I'm not. And now I'm getting to feel what it's like to be a small business owner. And now I'm here in Ventura County, which I love. and it was just natural to want to be on the Workforce Development Board.
Thank you. And I think it's very exciting to have something like a coffee shop, a meeting place, an inn. Those things have been in Piru and out in the Heritage Valley in the past, very active in previous years and previous eras with the train going through there and all of the cargo and materials that go from this part of like western part of the county over to the eastern part of the county and beyond. But it's really nice to have a business open up that utilizes some of that historic space and provides a meeting space for local residents. So we're to me, it's exciting to see that open up and have that be part of the community. My next question was like, what made you say yes to being a part of the Workforce Development Board? But it was really, I know our meeting and our coming together, you already knew about workforce boards and were interested to find out what was happening in Ventura County. You want to tell us a little bit about what, I guess, what motivated you to want to continue to work with us?
Sure. Well, first, it is a passion of mine, and I feel I have years of experience. And often businesses are not as represented in workforce development boards as they could be. So I encourage businesses out there who are listening to maybe consider representation. But I also am the Piru Neighborhood Council president, and in that role, I take on some responsibility in wanting to see us well represented throughout the various important boards within the community. So whether that's the tourism board or Boys and Girls Club, or in this case, Workforce Development Board, I encourage other members of our community to be parts of these so that we are represented, our voice is heard, and that we're learning what's going on in our community so we can communicate that to our residents. So for both the personal reasons and for this other responsibility I've taken on, it just was a natural to want to join the board.
And we really appreciate it as well. As I think at this point, just I believe within the year before you joined the board, the workforce board had conducted a survey. We did our first self-report survey of the board members and had them report what each member represented geographically throughout Ventura County, as well as demographic representation and industry sector representation, because we have our priority sectors of employment. And I had known for a couple of years that we probably needed more representation from the Heritage Valley, from that 126 corridor, that part of Ventura County. But we had not had a board member representing Piru. I mean, we were looking at Santa Paula and Fillmore, and we've been able to bring on actually additional board members from that geographic area since you came aboard. But I was very excited to have a business representative from the Piru area that could, as you just said, represent that area on the Workforce Development Board, as well as all of your interest and knowledge that you brought as well, bringing that community and the needs of that geographic area forward and being able to share that with other business leaders throughout the county and other stakeholders on the workforce board, I think has been very important. And it really helps us do our full job. A workforce development board, we are put in place to serve a geographic region, and we have the Ventura County region. And so it's very important to us that we are serving region-wide to the extent possible. So given all of your background and your perspective on this, what workforce issues are top of mind for you right now, whether that's locally or nationally or beyond?
Well, there's a number. Right now I know that, for instance, tariffs are a concern both for the logistics industry that I came through, which is really slowing down because of them, but also for our retailers and our consumers. I know with the fires that we had this past year, there's thousands of families that are going to be demanding trade professionals, and it's going to be an exponential growth over the next few years of that demand. if the offshore wind farms go forward, we're definitely going to need to be there to help staff thousands and thousands of jobs that will be coming to Southern California. And also with what's going on with the war on undocumented individuals, there's going to be a massive, I'm seeing it here in Piru, massive impact on construction, hospitality, agriculture, healthcare industries in Southern California. All of these changes that I just mentioned impact the career opportunities for our community, and we require a strategic shift led by Workforce Development Board. How are we going to address these issues?
Thank you, Ken. And absolutely, I would say we've heard similar concerns from other board members as well. And on that last point, I appreciate you've volunteered to be part of an ad hoc committee of our workforce board to pay attention to what's happening and the impact of the immigration enforcement that's happened, particularly here in Ventura County, how that's impacting both employers and employees and our community at large. The workforce board wants to make sure we're paying attention to that. So otherwise, since joining us at the Ventura County Workforce Development Board, is there a project or moment or moments that stand out for you?
There is, and it was my first meeting. So I sat in on the first meeting, which happened to be the annual strategic planning session. And it was there, looking around that room and hearing discussion, I went, wow, this is where it happens. I mean, labor professionals, educators, sector representatives, employment agency representatives, nonprofit, for-profit business folks, all in the same room with our dedicated workforce development board and executive team and support staff. And everybody there was contributing their knowledge about what was going on in our state and our county in terms of what were going to be the future opportunities. And I remember you coached myself and one other that were becoming new members. You said, this is your first meeting. You probably should, just listen today so you get a feel for how the board works. And I don't know, I must have looked like the first grader in class, just short of going like this at one point and waving, going, call me. But I was sitting there and you looked over and said, Ken, you look like you want to contribute. And I did really want to. And I just recall that moment of enthusiasm because while as a business leader, I often was the recipient of that strategic development. And I often sat on some of the focus committees that Los Angeles would have on various areas, but I never got to see it at the top where all that strategy is being done. And it was impressive.
Well, I remember that moment as well, because it takes a few steps for us to get a person onto the workforce development board. There's the application, and then there's the review by the workforce board, and then it has to go through approval and official appointment through the board of supervisors at the county level. But oftentimes we will have individuals come and visit a board meeting while that process is still going on. So they're not voting, but they can, see what's happening. In fact, at our last full board meeting, we had someone visiting that's in process of coming onto the board. But you're right, I could tell there was a topic that came up and you were fully engaged, and I could tell like he definitely has something to say, something to contribute here. I also believe that that may have been the time when you connected with the community college district and Vice Chancellor Dr. Cynthia Herrera on our board, because I know the two of you have had, as well as Brenda on the community college team, have had many meetings and activities and follow up and a lot of synergy going on there as well.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I remember how important it was, the collaboration between Workforce Development Board, Economic Development, and the community colleges. And yeah, that we were sort of on that topic, and I had some real life experiences that I wanted to share then.
Well, we appreciate that, and that's what it's all about in bringing your lens, your experience, and your expertise to the workforce board. So we so appreciate it. So next thing we want to do, and kind of as we close out this, is to do a quick rapid fire round of like short questions and answers. So are you ready for that?
I'm ready.
Okay. Um, one word, although I hate to limit anyone to one word, who would limit me to one word, but one word to describe the Ventura County workforce.
Resourceful. And I
Source.
mean it in two ways. One would be two words: resourceful and resourceful.
I like it. Say a little bit more about resourceful.
Well, just given the blend of experiences and backgrounds and sectors that people are working on, and nonprofit, profit, again, what I was talking about earlier, education, um, agencies that are training and readying folks for employment. All of that working together makes the outcome much more successful.
Agreed, agreed. And working in partnerships, what we're really all about. Thank you. I like that. What's a skill everyone entering the workforce should develop?
Mindedness. That's, I'm making it one word. Open-mindedness. I think we each come with our own set of experiences, and sometimes, and whether it's a strength or a fault of CEO, sometimes we can be very, very strong with our perspective and point of view. But in the Workforce Development Board, you learn to listen and learn other perspectives. So open-mindedness.
Open-mindedness. I like it. Being open to learning, I find very important. Is there a book or a podcast or something similar that has influenced your leadership style?
Who moved my cheese?
Who moved my cheese? I remember that one. Can you say a little
You
bit about
know, Conflict resolution and change management are two of the most important things we either learn to administrate as CEOs, or we learn to be involved in as employees, and how to make our way through that process. So whether I'm teaching advanced leadership courses or I want to be a leader, those two areas are very important. Who Moved My Cheese is a very readable, quick read that speaks to change,
Mhm.
both personally and professionally.
Yes, yes, it does. Good to hear that one come back. Been a while since I've even heard that title, but I definitely remember when it came out and remember reading it and the impact that it had. If you were not leading a business, what would you be doing?
Community development and participation is always been, passion. I mean, for 27 years, I've been a first responder as a volunteer. Often been in other boards, president of the Sheriff's Foundation, or I'm in the tourism board with the workforce development. Just being a part of the community and trying to contribute what I can, but also to learn what's going on in our community. And so, yeah, it'd just be being involved in the community.
Wonderful. And you are doing that and leading a
And I
business.
am, so I wouldn't stop doing that. I told my wife the other day, I don't remember when I've had more fun. So
Yeah.
keep
Oh,
doing
great.
what you love. Yeah,
That's great. And hopefully that's great for both of you, because I know she's leading that business right along with you.
we've worked together for 46 years through
Nice.
all the different companies that we've been in.
Nice. That is amazing. Love to hear that. What gives you hope about the future of work?
Well, I think it's nimbleness. I think it's that ability to, you know, be there with the strategy that accepts that a change is happening and to react.
Mhm.
And so it sort of comes down to being nimble.
Nimbleness. Yeah. We definitely are seeing that even in our provision of workforce services, is how to be nimble and responsive to the changing needs of employers, but also the needs of the workforce and the job seekers, and how they need to learn, how they need their coursework or their on the job training to fit in with what is life today.
Mm.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us, Ken. And as you said at the beginning, you always have. I'm going to ask Doug to rejoin us, and before we close up, but is there anything, Doug, you'd like to reflect or ask Ken?
Well, I just want to say that, first of all, I'm so excited about, and I know our listeners will be too, about this new segment, about the board member minutes. But also just want to say, Ken, it's just great to have your perspective. I think it's great for people to understand why people serve on a board, what it means to them, what it what it means ultimately, why it's so important, but also to get your perspective as a business owner and as a board member. So really appreciate you coming on, and I'm excited about listening to future episodes.
Ken, is there
Okay.
anything else you would like to share that we didn't ask you about?
I think we had a good chat here. I just want to thank you, Doug, Rebecca, for putting on this podcast, and I feel privileged to be a part of jumping on this today with both of you and having our chat together. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's listening, and to our board members who have participated and done episodes of the podcast. We've had some very serious conversations and important topics that we've covered all the way back to during the pandemic. We featured Peter Zierhut from Haas, just to share how they handled the pandemic in a manufacturing setting. And it was very interesting to get into the details of all of the things that they did and they addressed. And we were hopeful that, that might be helpful in providing ideas to another business. So that's part of why we're doing this as well, is board members sharing their experience, and that could be helpful to someone else in a business or in an organization. So any board members listening, if you'd like to be part of the board member minutes, let us know. And if you're listening to this podcast and you have a topic that you would like to share, or that you would like to see featured on the podcast, you can get in touch with us at the Workforce Development Board. Doug?
Thank you very much, Ken, Rebecca. Great to be with you. Look forward to continuing the conversation in the future.
Great. Take care, everyone.